Hey, 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 fellow interwebbers. Marco here at the Boulder Zone. We are running dirty live today. So don't embarrass me. Come on. Let's hear some chats. Let's get some questions going. I want to talk about a few things today, but we'll leave it open to you, whatever you want to chat about. I'm open to talking about manhood, talking about motorcycles. Let's talk about music, women. Let's talk about chats, social media, whatever is on your mind. I'm going to give it a few minutes here, see if we get anybody popping into the room. Probably not going to get a whole hell of a lot of people yet, but we'll see. If we do, we'll kick it off. Get this thing dirty. All right. Yeah, I was on Facebook today for a while in one of the chat rooms. Went to one of those red pill man groups. And I'm not sold that those places are the most healthiest environments to find yourself, to find your manhood. Seems like there's a bunch of guys in there fellowshipping together, sharing their advice, sharing their issues, and that's great. But you've got to be careful with some of these people that I see in there. Holy cats. Some of these guys are some place out in Zimbabwe or whatever, and they've got nothing on their Facebook. And I was curious, so I checked them out. Clicked on their pictures, it's some cartoon, and these guys are giving advice that, it looks kind of like a cut and paste thing to me. Like maybe they went to, I don't know, the Enlightened Mail or to Tomasi's page or something like that and pulled down some advice and put it up there, which is okay. But man, there's some advice out there where these guys are just hating on females. They're hating on their lot in life. And the key to all that, to finding yourself, to kind of getting back to a place of strength and confidence, is to get within yourself. Turn everything back to yourself. Figure out what you're doing that's not, making you happy. If it's your spouse, it's your girlfriend, whatever, you need to have a talk with those people. So anyway, let's see here. We have got anybody showing up yet? Nah, not quite yet. So I will chat a little bit. I'll pause a little bit. I'll drink I'll cover the label. The dew from the mountain. Fucking live on this shit. Anyway. Yeah, we're all about masculine talk, kind of a male perspective we like to bring to things. And, it's missing nowadays. It really is. Men have been emasculated to the point where they feel like they have to be sensitive, overly sensitive about their feelings. And then when they are, they're chastised about it. They're called pussies or whatever. So men are really kind of stuck, but I'm here for you guys. Let's chat it up. Hell, you could give me a call. My voicemail line is 830-206-8282, and that's somewhere here. I haven't got anything set up for scenes, so I apologize for that. We're just kind of running rough today. Was outside messing with my motorcycles a little bit today, and that's a manly thing to do, I'll tell you. If you have thought about getting a motorcycle, then do it. Hell, there's nothing better than to throw your leg over mega CCs and blow the stink off you. Man, it clears your head. It may take a little while if you haven't done it before to kind of get used to it, but there's nothing better. I haven't been riding very long, since 89. So yeah, I jest a little bit, and knock on wood, I've only had a couple of accidents, but it's been okay. It's been good. Met a lot of great people. Been involved with some pretty good clubs over the years, and it's just a great way to get away and find yourself. Stop into a bar, have a cold one, talk to some of the fellas in there, just be a guy. And, I think that's what we really have to get back to, being men. And when I say being a man, that's not getting out there and acting like an arrogant asshole, flexing and walking in places like, hey, I'm the shit, But, it's about being comfortable with yourself. Look, not everybody is a fucking Brad Pitt or whoever the trendy fuck is right now. I don't know. You have to find your look. And I'm going to go all over the place until I get somebody popping in here. I'm going to go all over the place, so bear with me. But talking about your look, if you're a fisherman, for example, you love to fish, great pastime. Used to fish a lot myself. If you're looking for a relationship, whether it's serious or you want to get laid or whatever, you still have to market yourself effectively. You can't go in there with the old tennis shoes or the fishing boots or shoes and the nasty jeans and a fishing shirt and think you're going to get anywhere with women. The first impression is everything. And if you look good, you're going to get some attention that way. Now, looking good is relative. It depends on what you do. Like I said, if you're a fisherman, put on your nice stuff. Trim up that beard. Make sure the hair is combed clean. Throw on a little cologne. Market yourself a little bit. You're not selling out. No matter what people say in some of these chat rooms, you're not selling out. It's about making yourself feel good, first and foremost. If you feel good about yourself, guess what's going to happen? It's going to go forward. People are going to pick up on that, right? Right. The next step is once you're feeling good and looking good, don't go into a bar or your hangout and start, trolling for pussy. That's not going to work. Just go in there and have a good time. Have the attitude when you go out that, hey, I'm not going to go out to plan on getting laid or find that magical relationship. Just go out and have a good time. Call up one of your boys, a couple of your boys. Have a beer. Don't act like an asshole, but have a good time. Shoot some pool, whatever you want to do. That's fun. And, who knows? Maybe you'll cross paths with somebody, strike a conversation, and see where it goes there. All right? The other part of it is when you walk into these places, a bar or whatever, you've got to kind of bring the attitude with you. And I don't mean like an asshole attitude. I've said that already. Just bring the party. When you walk into one of these places, just make it appear that, hey, the party's with me. I'm the guy to talk to. I'm confident about myself. There's a lot of steps in there. If you're starting at square one and your confidence is wrecked from a relationship or, dating sucks or you're fed up with that scene, with the attitude from a lot of women, then you've got to work on that and you've got to figure that out. And I'm here for that too. You can give me a call, send me a message, and we can talk about that one-on-one, live, whatever you want to do. But I'm a big advocate for men getting back to their traditional roles. Does this sound beat up right now with, the Tate thing and him going to jail and all of these podcasts? Yeah, maybe. But I tend to take a more common sense approach to things, a more realistic approach, not making you do things that is unnatural for you. Everything that I suggest is inherent. It's in your DNA as a man. You just need to find a way to tap into that and then keep tapping into it. Once you do, that confidence is going to come, that self-assurance is going to come, and that's going to spread. That's going to spread out to your work, your friends, the dating world, if that's what you want to do. It will work. You just have to give it some time, but you can't blame everybody else. If you're having a tough time, you can't blame everybody else and say, it's the women around here, or it's all my wife, or these kids have me tied down, or, I can't go anywhere because I got this crippled dog or whatever. you've got to find solutions for all that. But it starts with you. It starts with you finding yourself, finding your comfort zone, and building out from there. You know, a lot of guys think, yeah, I'm overweight and, I'm losing my hair and, I'm just not attractive to women. Nowadays, there's things you can do about that. Hey, it's very fucking trendy for you guys that are losing your hair, and thank God, I'm an old fucker and I still have mine, so thank you for that. But if I didn't, I'd shave all that shit right off there. I'd be as bald as a cue ball, grow a little beard, and that would be my fucking look. Me, as far as clothes, it depends on the environment. I'm comfortable in jeans and a t-shirt or a button-up shirt or something like that. Nothing really fancy, but it's about being confident in whatever you put on. How many times have I said that? Way too many. Well, let me see. Well, somebody came in here and they're talking about selling me something. They want to offer a promotion of my channel. If you guys have ever done this before, then you get those. And I forgot to shut off that spam thing or turn on that bot to block that spam thing. So, yeah, okay, oral shotgun. I appreciate you. I see you. And, buddy, I'm not interested. But if you want to chat about motorcycles, manhood, music, social media, the fucking sky, let me hear about that. So anyway, confidence. Yeah, it's not as easy as some people say it is, but you start taking steps and accepting responsibility for the shit that you're facing in your life, and then taking steps to work through those things. Like I said, it'll start to come. If you're looking for books, and that's what I recommend, rather than getting on these Facebook and Instagram or wherever chat rooms and whatnot, go out and get some books. Yeah, I'm old school. There's several. There's 5 I think I recommend out on my website, which is boulderzone.com, boulderzone.com. And you go into the blog there, and I've got something about 5 books that you should read. They're not difficult reads. They're not necessarily long reads, depending on what your level is there. There's a couple on manhood and everything, but there's a few about life. There's a one about success. And they're classic books. They're not fly-by-night things. They're things that have been around. One of the books, I think, is from, like the 1940s. And it's amazing. It still rings true today. Matter of fact, do I have that back here somewhere? I may have that back here somewhere. I don't know. Is this it? This is a pretty old-looking book. Well, this is The Art of War by Sun Tzu. I'll tell you what. A lot of people think that this book is about military tactics, and it is. But the advice in here, the little snippets in here, can apply to your life. And it's short. There's little things. I'll just flip it open here and find something just, that it's not a story. There's a whole bunch of little snippets in here. If you double your strength, you'll divide him. That's something that was right here. What him means, I think that's subjective. A person, a situation. Let me see here. What else is there? There's another one here. It says, he who knows when he can fight and when he cannot will be victorious. So yeah, that goes to, say you're out in the bar with the boys and some asshole comes up to you, had too much to drink, and starts treating you like shit or saying something to you. Look, pick your battles. Can you top roll that guy with a punch if he's been drinking? Yeah, but will it ruin your evening? Depending on where you're at, probably it will. But, really, unless they're a serious threat, there's no reason to knock some stupid fucker out. It's just going to ruin your evening. So, yeah, that's one of the books that I've got back here. One of them, as far as a manhood book, that's a more current one is Tomasi's book. Let me see. Yeah, The Rational Male. That's a really good book. He's got like 4 books out. And this is the first one. This is the flagship of all the books, and I highly recommend this. It's an easy read. It looks like it's thick, but it's an easy read. And I'm telling you, basically every chapter in here is something that's going to help you out. Other things. Let me see here. Oh my God! This is that one I was talking about. This is a reprint, but this is The Stranger's Secret by Earl Nightingale. Really short read. And Earl Nightingale was a sales manager or in advertising or something like that. And he was just simply trying to find a way back in the 40s to motivate his sales force. So he wrote this speech that was one of the most incredibly motivating speeches I've ever read. And they turned it into a book. So that's why it's so little. But I'll tell you, read this guy right here. So a few more back there. Check out the website. I've got a lot more good stuff there. Some pretty cool blog posts and whatnot. And if you're interested in chatting 101, 101, one-on-one, mano-y-mano, whatever you want to do, there's a place to do that there, where you can set up an appointment and we can get our talk about what you need to do to get where you're at. Me, I don't like to talk a hell of a lot about myself, but I've got 30 years in helping people in real critical situations out of that initially, and then sporadically over the years, some real knee-to-knee, face-to-face counseling. And it's been really rewarding. It's really great to see people come from the gutter, from despair, and grow into the person that they are. Again, I'm not about making you into something you're not. I'm not about making you into some PUA guy, some pickup artist. If that folds into your goals, if it folds into your personality, fucking A, go for it, do it. There's plenty of shit out there that can support that as well. But everything comes back to finding out who you are, determining who you are, and getting in that comfort zone with that. So again, the group chat rooms, the MGTOWs and the red pills and all that, do like my grandmother taught me with places like that, with situations, with advice like that. Maybe I shouldn't be chewing gum. I don't care. Eat the. She used to tell me, eat the meat, boy, and spit out the bones. So basically, take what you can of it, of worth to you, validate it, really, really important. Trust your instincts a little bit. If something sounds good, but doesn't feel right, probably isn't. And that's what you're going to get in a lot of these places. You're going to get a lot of fluff that sounds really good. A lot of this stuff is cut and paste. I haven't seen a lot of experience of people who have helped men through, or women through. Of course, you're not going to see any guys in there who have helped women through. It's not that type of chat room, right? But I think you know what I'm saying. You're going to find your true support in some of these texts that I recommend on the site. Calling a guy like me. If you choose to do the therapy route, that's fine. That's okay. Just make sure you don't get caught in that loop. What I hear from guys, and I've been there, I've done the marriage counseling, I've done the trauma counseling, I've done the personal counseling, myself, in front of the dude or the chick. And I found myself kind of dealing with the symptoms, not getting down to the core. It seemed like when it got down to the core, one of two things would happen. We ran out of time because we were dealing with the symptoms. And what I mean by symptoms, say you're in marriage counseling. And whether it's one-on-one, one-on-one, or your old lady's there with you or something like that, you seem to talk about what the problems were last week and how you handled the problems from the week before. And before you know it, your 45 minutes is up. And so you don't really get down to the core. And I'm not saying it's some, conspiracy or some sort of scheme, but it keeps you coming back. And that's what I felt. I felt like I keep coming back, and I feel better when I get out, but the same old things start to occur again. And we may have gotten tools to fix some of these symptoms, but the core stuff still is there. So it's something you've got to say to yourself, or if you're there with your partner, you've got to agree that, hey, look, all these things that are happening around us on a daily, weekly basis are caused by our main problem. And identify what those problems are and go in and talk about those. Also keep in mind, I'm not besmirching counseling, but keep in mind, they've got to kind of find a middle ground, so they're not alienating one or the other. And there are great counselors out there, okay? There really, really are. But you've got to find one, obviously, that works for you. And if not, you can talk to some guy like me. There's some coaches out there that do that sort of thing that are pretty good too. But, it keeps coming back to the central thing that I'm talking about here. Look at that. Got another one. Next time I'm going to shut that thing off. I don't need to be buying anything. So, yeah, it's about getting back to your core. Let me see. I think a lot of the problems that we have as men nowadays is trying to negotiate the female mindset. A big problem there is how women overthink men. When we say something, it could be as simple as, are you hungry, honey? Nah, not really. Depending on where you're at in your relationship, they could read so much into that. Am I right? So fucking much. Not saying that all women on earth are that way, but, women think, I have it in one of my podcasts, where, women's thoughts are like a bowl of spaghetti. They've got all sorts of things going on at once, and they're all twisted together, and they can work through that. Some of them can. Guys, I know you and I, we're right here. This is how we operate. Let us know what's going on. Let's chart our straightforward course. And if anything changes, let us know, and boom, we're gone. That is the basic mindset of men. So, ladies, if you're hearing this, and if you are watching, just remember that. Don't read so much into what men are thinking. So let me see here. Anything going on? Let me see. Well, chats. I'm going to take a second here and see if I can figure out where the rest of my chats are. I only see one here. So I see my Twitch one right there. There should be a YouTube one going on. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Nope. Well, I didn't expect I'd get a lot of people out of the chute here. And, a lot of folks start off slow like this, and it's not really worth their time. But, I have no problem talking, because this will get uploaded to my various pages and whatnot. And maybe there's a piece of it there that you guys can pull something out of. Let me see. Let me play a little music in the background. I kind of feel like it's too quiet in here, you know. Whoa, that's kind of loud, isn't it? Woo. Yeah, we'll just let that roll. I don't think that's too loud. I don't think that's blowing anything up. I can't quite see if it's going crazy. Yeah, if you can hear it, I hope you enjoy it. If you can't, sorry about that. So, women overthinking men. I think it's a lot that we have to live with. If we're going to have a relationship with women, we have to accept that fact. But they also have to accept the fact that as men, we have our line of thinking. It's straightforward, it's not complicated. And if they have questions, ask in a civil manner. The other thing that kind of pisses me off a little bit that I see on social media a lot are these women that forbid their men from doing things. I mean, they're overt about it. I was looking at this one chat. I think it was out on Facebook. I don't remember where a lady she said she'd bought a motorcycle. That's what caught my eye. She said, I bought a motorcycle, I'm taking lessons, and I'm going to learn to ride. And I'm thinking, right on, have fun with that, you know? And so she had her friends chime in, and whoops, and they were, oh, you know, be careful, you know, it's really dangerous. It's not that I don't trust you, I just don't trust the other drivers, you know, all that rap. And one came in and said, my husband rode motorcycles before we were married, and he wanted to do it again. He wanted to get another motorcycle and ride on the weekends. And I said, no, I forbid him from doing it. And then a couple of lines later, she said, you know, but, you know, I hope you have a good time and you're really safe and just stay safe. So what the fuck? So she's got two standards there. She's got one for her friends and one for her old man. I got to throw the bullshit flag on that. You know, and if you're that dude in that relationship, you need to square that shit right away. Square that away right away. Why would she be okay with her friend learning to do something that you really want to do? It's a manly activity. It's going to help you mentally. It's going to help your relationship. You're going to have that time to get away and do your thing. But you're forbidden to do it. There's something wrong with that chick. You can't let her have that type of control over you. You need to sit down. Look, I'll tell you a story. And this is a true story. In my first marriage, I gave up. I was simping out there for a while. I gave up riding motorcycles for a bit. And I would get off work and I'd drive by this Harley place, stop in and look at the motorcycles and just think, man, that would be nice to do that again. But I didn't, and it got to be years going by, and there was just this void in my life. So one day I went in, saw this bike that I really liked, and the gentleman walked up, real nice bearded sales biker type of guy. I keep turning this down because I think it's too loud. He said, what do you think of this? And I said, well, I really like it. You know, I've seen it here for a little while. And he goes, I'll make you a hell of a deal on it. It's getting to be off season. Let's talk about it. And I'm like, I'm not about to say, well, my wife won't let me, because I'm not going to self-emasculate myself that way. But that was what was in my mind. We talked about the motorcycle, and I'd never done this before that day. Threw my leg over the motorcycle, and it just felt good again. That feeling washed over me, and that little voice came up. Yeah, you know, you've seen those cartoons where they got the angel and the devil and they're arguing with you in your head. There was no fucking angel on this shoulder. There's just the devil telling me, you need to do this. Maybe it wasn't devil, maybe it was angel. I don't know, but there was that voice saying, nah, you know what? You got to do this. So the next thing I knew, I was sitting in the sales manager's office with the contract in front of me, the agreement in front of me, with a pen in my hand. And I thought, let me do the right thing. I am married. Let me show my old lady some respect. I called her. I said, hey, I'm at the Harley dealership and I'm looking at this motorcycle and I think I'm going to buy it. Well, first, she thought I was kidding with her. And I let her do her thing for a minute. And then I said, no, I'm serious. I'm sitting here with a pen in my hand about to sign this. And the first thing out of her mouth was, oh, we can't afford that. Well, I'm not going to get into my history and my successes and whatnot. But you know what? We were in a huge house, swimming pool. She was driving a Land Rover. And I'm thinking to myself, I've got a 97 Camry sitting out there that I drive because I'm just not into that sort of thing. I'm not into the material shit. If it runs good and it's clean, I take care of it, I'm good with it. Not about big impressions. Even back then, what was that, 20 years ago, 15 years ago? But there I was, pen in hand. She's telling me we can't afford it. And I said, well, you don't need to worry about that. And she goes, well, I'm not co-signing. I said, well, I don't need you to co-sign. And she said, you better not bring that home. And I said, okay. And that was it. That last forbiddance is what made me apply pen to paper. I signed for that fucker. Got my temporary tag. Hell, I didn't even have my motorcycle endorsement on my license, but I didn't care. And the guy was cool. He just asked me. I got on the motorcycle, rode it home. Was one of the most liberating points of my life to be doing something that I loved to do. And I'm going to turn this down again. It seems like it keeps getting louder. I hope y'all like 80s rock. That's kind of where I came up, the tail end of that, and I really kind of love this music. So, but anyway, I rode that thing home, and it was liberating as hell. Got home, parked it in front of the house, went inside, and we lived on a little cul-de-sac there, and parked it right in front. She walks in from work, and a little small talk, and she said, whose motorcycle is parked in front of our house? And I looked at her, and I said, well, it's mine. And she looked at me like she wasn't, I can be a little bit of a smart ass sometimes. But she looked at me, she saw this straight face. And she said, you better take that back. I told you, we can't afford it. We can't. And she was on and on and on and on. This went on for a fucking week. Unrelenting. Virtually every time she saw me, she was bitching about that motorcycle and the payment and this, all that. Until one day, she came home from work and she said, hey, maybe we can go ride sometime. What? She said, yeah, my boss's husband has a motorcycle and they ride all the time. And maybe if, I like it, we can go riding with them. I was like, you bitch. You don't give a shit about me and how it affects me and how it makes me feel. But as soon as it serves your purpose, come on now. Now, I may be throwing some things in there that I don't recall correctly. It was a long time ago. But I just remember that. And I ended up riding her around and we actually went over to her boss's house. And I don't think we end up riding. We had some wine and cheese, foo-foo shit, you know. But my point is guys, you can't let your other half forbid you from things that are really mentally good for you, mentally healthy for you, okay? You don't have to go out and get a brand new Harley Davidson. There are plenty of motorcycles on the market that aren't going to break the bank that you can work out. Maybe a friend. You can make a deal with a friend if that's your thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe you can't go out and hunt enough or fish enough or whatever. You know, one of the things I used to do, I had a house out in the woods at one time, and when my day was long and I got frustrated, I'd take my dog out with me. We'd go out on the back 40. I'd bring the chainsaw, some safety glasses and gloves, and I'd just start cutting down cedar. Just chopping down all that useless shit. And that was really liberating, having your dog out there with you, having a cold one, a folding chair, and just chopping down limbs and trees and piling them up and sitting down and just enjoying nature. Getting back to that. I'll segue into that too. You know, I think men get too mired into their office job or their home environment and get disconnected from the world. And I'm not trying to sound like some swami or some holistic person, but trust me, I've told guys many times over the years that if you are stressed, you're feeling anxiety from whatever, kids, wife, girlfriend, work, take your shoes off, go outside, find yourself a patch of green grass and stand in that shit and just flex your toes in that. I know that sounds weird as hell, you okay? But really, it feels good. Take some deep breaths. Doesn't cost you anything. Takes no time to do. And just kind of grounds you a little bit. Hell, I had a guy tell me that that became a habit for him. He had this piece of grass that was near a tree, could see the sky. He'd go out there and do that. Some days he would just lay down, just breathe and look at the sky. And it worked for him. And it's worked for other guys. It's worked for me. I've done it. Hell, if you haven't got grass, then look, sand, I don't know, find something where you can connect with the fucking outside, with the fucking earth. And I'm not talking about, you know, finding Mother Earth, you know, and putting on your sundress and your Birkenstocks. No, just get out there as a dude and just walk outside, get yourself some fresh air, man. Observe what life is really about. Get away from your own problems for a minute. You know, I've talked about this on podcasts before as well. It's important that we have those manly things that we do. Again, fishing, hunting, motorcycle, whatever. If it's going to a concert, if you like country music or you like rock and roll, grab one of your guys, one of your friends, one of your dudes, and go see a concert, man. Have yourself a couple of beers, rock it out, fist bump it out with the boys, head out of there with no hearing. You know, it's great. It's a lot of fun just to do that. There's a score of things that we can do as men to connect with ourselves again. One of those things is having that trusted friend. It's really important to have at least one other man that you can talk to that isn't going to run his fucking mouth. All right? Doesn't mean that he's your confidant for going out and tapping strange ass, you know, everything like that. If that's what your arrangement is, that's your arrangement. I'm just saying as far as connection, being able to have somebody to vent to when you need to. And he's not going to sit there and judge you or tell his wife, oh, you know, Marco called and, you know, he's really unhappy with his kid or whatever, and he just doesn't know what. Nah, you know what? That guy needs to kind of take that to the vault. That's what bros That's what good friends are for. You hold that shit in the vault. Now, the only exception to that is if you're going to do harm to yourself. If you're that far where you're thinking that, then you need some professional intervention. You need to talk to somebody more than your friend, but that's a start. If you are there, you have to talk to somebody. You can't just become a recluse. Guys, I was there. I've experienced all of this shit. There's really nothing that I've heard outside of some of the real bad abuse things that men have shared that I haven't experienced. And one of the worst things you can do is to become a recluse, to close yourself in. You're going to sit there and just stew over it. Some of us have a military background. That might have fucked some of us up there. Matter of fact, I'll get off on that rant for a minute. If you're not aware, 22 veterans take their life every day. And that has been happening for decades. Shouldn't be happening. It seems like there are more and more and more programs to support veterans, but they're not making a huge dent in that number. These are men that signed on the dotted line to protect us and their country. Something happened along the way in carrying out their mission that fucked with their head. And they're struggling with it sometimes years, sometimes decades after they get out. Those are the guys you need to drop what you're fucking doing when you know one, when you hear about one, and go out there and give them a fucking shoulder. It's our responsibility. I just don't see it as anything other than that. You have to support our veterans. And back when I was doing it, it was just kind of pre the whole patriotic rah-rah stuff that's going on now. Veterans back then weren't really supported as well. But the programs were there, and the programs are there now for those guys. So I won't rant on that too much longer, but don't overlook your local veterans. Support their organizations, and support them when you get a chance. These guys, most of them, will give you the shirt off their back if you need it. Sometimes they need it from you. Well, boy, I wasn't going to do a chat or I wasn't going to do a live show if I wasn't going to get a chat, and it is just dead. But hell, I'm okay with just talking and yammering on for a little bit. I guess what I was saying earlier about finding your manhood is all about perspective. Everybody has a different definition of what that means for them, but it basically is about feeling comfortable in your skin. And it doesn't matter, and I touched on this, I don't think I closed it off, but it doesn't really matter where you're at right now. If you want to get there, you can. If you're overweight, and I say things raw and up front, close that little space right about here on your face a little more often. Do this at the dinner table a little more often. You don't need seconds. Just start getting in the habit of that. Guys, cut back on the sweets. And I'm one to talk. This is my vice right. Whoop, better cover up the label. This is my vice right here, but that's one of my few vices that way. I had a weight problem at one time during that low point in my life where I got pretty fucking hefty. But you get to a point, or at least I did, and a lot of men that I talk to get to a point where they're just not happy. And something breaks and they have to do something different. And they do. Start walking. Get yourself a fucking treadmill. Go to the gym. And fuck what they think at the gym. And these assholes, these bitches at the gym, that if you're in there with your PE t-shirt and your shorts and your New Balance shoes, who gives a fuck? You're in there to better yourself. You don't need to associate these with yourself with these muscle heads and these gym rats that, are over there all buff and doing their thing and thinking they're all that shit. Fuck them. You go, you talk to the person at the gym, you get your little routine down and you go and do it and keep your head down. Put on some headphones, whatever you need to do, and screw them. Soon enough, you'll get into that habit where you're going to the gym every day or every other day and you're starting to see a difference. You're starting to feel better. You're adjusting your eating habits. That is paramount to getting to where you need to be as far as a man and comfortable with yourself. The other thing you've heard, I know you guys have heard this stuff before, but I'm going to say it again because I'm just talking right now. Sleep. I'm one to talk. I haven't slept well in fucking 30 years, but I do the best I can as much as I can. And I can't tell you, that is so important. Push yourself away from the computer. If you're into the video games, cut that shit off and get your ass into bed so you're fresh for work the next day. Because as a man, it's your responsibility. If you are a breadwinner, and anymore it's the female as much as the male, and we can talk about that in a minute. It's your responsibility to provide for those people in your charge under your roof. That's your responsibility. So you need to be in the best shape to do that. If you don't like your job, when the best time to find a new job is, right? When you already have one. Start looking. Just start looking. Putting out the feelers. Doesn't have to be overt. I don't know, there's some employment sites and all that out there that you could look at. But get yourself, start grooming yourself and getting yourself into an environment that is conducive to driving you to that inner beast that you are as a man. All right? And, it's going to take some work. But what worthwhile doesn't take a little bit of work, right? I hate to sound cliche, but guys, that's what I'm about. Just bringing the real shit to you. The stuff that you probably know, but have forgotten about, pushed back, think it's too hard, whatever reason. That's what I do. I just had a success story a couple of months ago that really, really proud of. The gentleman, and I've got a podcast on this too. You can check that out on the YouTube. The podcast is Boulder Zone, the Boulder Zone on YouTube. Got some stuff out there. And let me deviate for a second here. I'm finally taking all of this life experience and these connections that I've made and experiences I've had with people, and I'm trying to push them out to the masses now. Trying to get the message out to as many people as I can. It's great to get knee to knee with somebody and help somebody through one-on-one. But really, I think in the state of things nowadays, it's really important to try to get the message out to as many men as possible. And anybody that's interested can reach back. I'm here. There's other guys that are here. And that's something that I like to do that maybe is a little different from these other masculine advisors, is I'll talk to you one-on-one. You can look at the podcast, and there's fun stuff in there. I should do more things like this where we're talking about manhood things. But honestly, I kind of get bored. I want to do some fun stuff. I want to talk about music. Like I said, I want to talk about motorcycles. Let's kind of have some fun with it. They say with podcasts, you need to be focused. You need to be focused on your audience. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. If I was doing this to become rich and famous, that would probably be my agenda, but it's not. I'm here to just help guys, man. Just a dude helping dudes. That's all it is right here, okay? And I think I've tapped into the secret sauce, and I'm able to convey that in an effective way where it resonates with men. On a sidebar, I've seen it resonate with women. Women, if they can get over their issues, whatever they are, if it's with their man, with themselves, or whatever, and just open their ears and listen to some of the basic stuff that I can share with them, that I have to share with them, it's almost like handing them an operator manual about manhood. And it's simple as that. And it's not a very thick book, you know? I mean, I think what I have to say to help men would fit on a large pamphlet. You know, could I write a book like this? Yeah. Have I had an offer? Yeah, I've had an offer to write. But you know what? I'd have to have somebody else write it because my stuff would be like, it'd be like this much. It's that simple, you know? It'd be full of fluff. And I'm not interested in selling fluff to men, you know? I'm interested about talking about real shit. So, finding your manhood is where you start. Finding yourself is where you start. There's a lot of guys that are having issues dating, and I've covered it about pointing their fingers elsewhere. I'll tell you, my grandmother used to say this to me, God rest her soul. Boy, when you point one finger, you got three pointing back at you. What kind of truth is that, right? It's true. If you fix yourself, the damage that you run across out there isn't as intense. It doesn't affect you as much. You know, divorce is another thing that is a bitch. I've gone through it. I know a hell of a lot of you guys have. That's why some of you are out there on some of these chat groups. I'm going to throw you back to the podcast that I've done out there at the Boulder Zone on YouTube. I've got one early on about 5 things that you must do if you're going through a divorce. If you've gone through it, you know, that's a whole other subject in dealing with it after that. But if you're at the point of going through it, you've decided to go through it, then you really need to watch that video. It's simple, it's common sense, but it's stuff that you should probably write down in your hand and look at every single day. Divorce is a bitch. We all know it. There's guys that have a hard time recovering from it. And I think part of that has to do with the damage it's done to them, to their self-esteem, to how they look. A lot of guys come out of these marriages and they're way overweight, not feeling good about themselves, and some serious decisions need to be made. As a man, you could exist there, and that's what you're going to do. You're just going to exist. You're going to go to your job. You're going to come home to your apartment or your house if you are lucky enough to get that, if she hasn't gotten half your shit, if not all of it. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to get into your video games. You're going to get into television. You know, you go out once in a while, probably eat out a lot, and that's not good for you all the time. You have to make that fucking decision to step up as a man. Make that hard call. Say, look, enough of these hungry man frozen dinners. You know, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to make me a pot of chili. I'm going to pound out a meatloaf and throw it in the oven. Have that shit in the refrigerator. Simple foods, simple good whole foods that are going to fill you up, taste good, and aren't going to pack on the pounds. Matter of fact, you'll lose some poundage. The big part of it is not letting the depression of your loss, if that's what you consider it, to weigh you down long term. This is, again, where the boys come in, where your friends come in. You've got to parse some of that advice because, you know, I'm sure one or two or all of them have been through a divorce and they're going to tell you what they did to get through it. Again, eat the meat, spit out the bones. You got to figure out what's right for you. Don't get mired in a bunch of this amateur talk. I don't know what else to call it. I think most men have real solid intent. I think in some of these chat places, and if you're sitting in a bar and you're talking about your problem with some dude, I think they have the best intent. But, that advice is not necessarily cut and paste. You have to really kind of take what resonates and write it down, put it in your phone, internalize it, whatever you need to do, and take steps that way. But without belaboring the point, you've got to be proud of yourself again. There's social media. It's the devil. I just think that's really the downfall of society. If it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't be getting this out to you. So it has its advantages, I'm not saying. But this whole look at me, immediate gratification, look at my fake life. You really think that all this shit you see out there, these women all looking like models because of filters and taking pictures in front of fancy cars and, it's all fake. It's not real. Nobody lives that life. The majority of the American people, let alone elsewhere in the world, lives that life. But they represent themselves that way because it makes them feel better about where they're truly at. And it's sad. It's really sad. So, if you're out there, you're divorced, you're looking for a date and that sort of thing, and you think that, your Facebooks and your Instagrams and all that sort of stuff is the place to do that, your dating sites and whatnot, take that with a grain of salt, really. And don't be one of those dudes that whenever you have a hot female friend in your feed popping in with another overly filtered picture showing her tits or whatever, that you're going to go, beautiful, you're so beautiful. Oh, you're so hot. God, you're just feeding into their insecurities. You're not doing anything for yourself, right? I mean, are you ever going to meet this chick really? So, you don't need to be going in that direction on your social media pages and stuff. Yeah. Is it cool to have some hot chicks pop up, in their pictures? Yeah, it's cool. Give them a thumbs up, just give them a like, whatever. But God, don't be one of these fucking dudes that are so desperate that they just drool all over their fucking mouths and they're yanking it, on the couch looking at I don't know what they're doing, but again, I'm going to throw you to another podcast, another video that I have out there on those photo filters. It's an awful circle. When you meet a woman on social media, you look at her pictures and they look great and she's saying the right things. You feel like there's a connection there. So you set up the date and you go out on the date and you show up, and that person that you're meeting is a very poor representation of the pictures you saw online. That's how it is nowadays. Really, that's how it is. I recommend that if you get in a situation like that, even though you're desperate to get laid or have a relationship or whatever it is, tip your ass right out of there. Thanks, but no thanks. Because I don't know if it's a lesson that these women will ever learn, because a lot of times when that happens, they're down on men. They blame you. Isn't that weird? Isn't that ironic? They're the ones that misrepresented themselves, and it's your fault that you turned tail on them because they didn't give you the goods that they represented themselves as they marketed. So that's the circle I was talking about. They get on there to feel good about themselves, and they get dressed up and they do the whole this stuff, all that crap, and they filter the shit out of it and they put it up there, and then guys drool all over it and they feel better about themselves. I don't, I don't get it. I don't. Because if they find a guy they're interested in and they go out and the guy turns tail, they're going to come back on Facebook and just bash men. It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Guys, you know what? If you're going to chime in here or not, or you see this, in a, what is it, pre-recorded, send me a message. Get down in the messages in the chat and let me know. Tell me about your experiences. Have you had anything like that happen to you? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm full of shit? Let me hear it. I got thick skin. I want to hear it. I actually enjoy getting back to the comments if they're reasonable. I mean, you guys have seen some of these comments on social media. People come back and they're just complete insecure assholes. They're not worth my time. But the ones that have really good points, even if they're counter to mine, yeah, rock on. Let's hear it. Let's talk about it. So I live down here in the South, in the far South, on the Gulf Coast. And we have motorcycle riding season basically 12 months out of the year. And one of the reasons I moved down here was kind of for that, So I just love it. And here it is. I haven't got my motorcycle out in a month. And I'll admit, I'm going to sound like a pussy because it was too cold. When up where I lived before, shit, it'd be 45 degrees and I'd be out there all leathered up and bundled up, tearing it up. Now it's like 55 down here. I'm going, yeah, it's a little bit chilly. I was just thinking about that today. That's why I was out there messing with my bike today before I came in and sat down and had a wild hair and did this. But I kind of felt like talking today. I was talking to my producer earlier today. We're going to do some more shows. We've got some people we're going to interview, but I want to do more stuff like this. I want to hear from you guys, get more engaged with you folks. And boy, unless I'm doing something wrong here, I'm really surprised that I haven't gotten more chats than this. I looks like, and I'm not, hey, I'm the first one to admit this is probably user error. I really need that producer mindset to make sure that my shit is right anymore. But I thought I had this all set up. I thought I had it all set up right. The Twitch stream, the YouTube, I think I even have the Facebook going there. I don't know how to check that. I see 2 out of the 3 feeds here, but hey, give me some tips on that. If there's any podcasters out there, hey, my intent is good. I want to produce a good show, an entertaining show. I want to give some good advice, some solid perspective and comment. But if I'm not doing something right and getting out to the right people, all I'm doing is just running my mouth, right? Well, that's cathartic for me as well, just to kind of chat, because I know somebody's going to see this in the rerun there. So I hope you guys don't judge women all the same way. And this is where some of these MGTOW guys get pissed off at me, because their verbiage is all women. They want one thing. They see something better, they're going to turn their heads and take all your shit. Women. It's just not fucking true. I'm going to tell you right now, not all women are like that. And guys, you MGTOW guys, God bless you. You need to get over that thinking, because it's not true. I have talked to scores of women that all they want is they want a hardworking, dedicated, hard-loving, manly man. And if they get unreasonable about something, they're not all about feminism. not all of them. You sit them down with love, but as a man, and say, listen, I don't understand this. This is kind of how I do things. We talked about that in the onset of our dating, our relationship. What's going on here? And listen. Again, I keep referring back to podcasts. I've got that in one of my podcasts as well. What women want from men is your attention. If you're going to have a conversation with your old lady, you need to turn off the fucking TV. You need to step away from the kids, put the dog on the chain, and listen to her. That goes a long way in a relationship. Conversely, she needs to understand that you, as a man, require respect for yourself in the relationship. Now, you have to earn it. You have to deserve it. Let me put it that way. You have to deserve it. You can't come home every day and just be, hey, I brought in the fucking check. Now I'm going to have my Miller Lite and I'm going to watch, hockey. No, there's things you have to do. You got to turn a screw once in a while. You got to sit down with your family, if it's just her or a couple kids, and have dinner together. Don't break out the card tables or sit around the coffee table and have your pizza and watch the latest episode of Survivor, what the hell you tune into. Sit on that dining room table that you never sit at, maybe once in a while on Thanksgiving or Christmas. Be the man. Step up. Get everybody around the table. You're going to have some fun talking about everybody's day. It's really important. And I'll tell you, it may sound a little cliche, but when I watch TV, one of the shows I like to watch is Blue Bloods. And the main reason that the acting's hokey and, whatever, I like that thing they have at the end of the show where the whole family gets together every Sunday and they sit around the table and they talk and they work out issues and they discuss events and stuff like that. And it's a tradition. That's the sort of stuff that men need to take point on nowadays when it comes to your family and your relationships. Tradition is key. Don't get caught up in this social media bullshit in defining who you are supposed to be. It doesn't mean you have to go out there and be an activist for men's rights or anything like that. But this is key, guys. If you're not happy, it's because you're not happy with yourself. You need to take control of yourself before you can kind of get out there and take control of others. I belabor the point. And, well, let me see. There's a bunch of stuff popping in. Maybe I missed it here. Yeah. No, that's not it. All right. Well, I think I'm going to throw the towel in here. For you people that are going to watch this later, I appreciate it. I hope you hang with it through the end to this point right here. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You know that more subscribers, more likes, that helps the algorithms, helps me get out there and keeps me motivated to keep driving on. But give me a call. All my stuff is out there. My website, boulderzone.com, all my contact information there. The YouTube channel, contact information out there. Hell, even if you follow up on the Facebook page and the Instagram and all that, I'll get a hold of it one way or another. I will admit, though, I am not a social media guy. It's taken me a lot. I don't like to sit down there, sit on my phone and see what the latest happenings are, in the social media world or with my friends or whatever that stuff is. If I'm on my phone on social media, I'm doing research for the show. I'm trying to get perspectives of what women and men have out there right now. And it's sad because I'm not seeing a lot of positive shit. I've got a couple of good friends on social media that are real people. I hope I can meet them someday. Good folks who kind of have the same perspective, and they take out of it what the good out of it, what little that is. They take that out. They post. I have one friend that moved up to Minnesota, and she likes to cook. She's got a great man. She's had a a rough time in her previous marriage, and she throws her recipes up there, and her man is a good man, and God bless her. You know, I've got a friend of mine that's in another state that's had a hard time, and he kind of swore off social media. He realized that was contributing more toward his anxiety and depression after getting out of his relationship than helping it. So he just manned up and said, and shut down all of his accounts. And he hasn't been back for a year. So, you know, he's doing okay. Yeah, he's got a girlfriend now and a better job, and God bless him. Good for you. Good for you. So, if there is anything you guys want to cover, please give me a call. Give me a message. All that stuff's out there. Until next time, thank you very much. I appreciate your attention on the rerun portion of this. Give me a like. I need those likes. I need those subscriptions. I don't like to beg for shit, and I'm not on my knees, so I don't feel like I'm begging. But please, that helps me out. I hope you get that my intent is good, that I'm not in this to make myself the next Andrew Tate or something like that. And, you know, I keep saying I'm going to leave, but then these thoughts come into my head. I think Tate is misunderstood. I don't follow him, but the stuff that I've seen, I think if he wasn't as fucking brash about it, he wouldn't be in the situation he's in now, because what he recommends for men, especially young men, it's sound advice. But he has built this persona that really rubs people the wrong way. And in the social media news soundbite world, or video bite, where they just take little pieces of stuff, you know, somebody like that can really get fucked. And he has gotten screwed right now, being in jail for the accusations of, you know, human trafficking, whatever it is. I feel for the man, you know, but he knew what he was doing. Okay. We'll see if he comes out of that. But if you come across Andrew Tate's stuff, try to look past the brashness of it and just listen to the message. There's a lot of other guys out there as well. One of the guys I enjoy is Rollo Tomasi. He seems to have both feet on the ground. For as many years as he's been in Red Pill, and he was actually one of the originators of the Red Pill movement. And let me touch on that really quick before I go. Red Pill today is not the Red Pill that Tomasi and the 2 or 3 other guys that were with him back on the boards researched and came up with. Okay, it's not the same. I'm going to quote him in saying that Red Pill is not an ideology, it's a praxology. And that means taking that information and putting it into play, not looking at it and taking out of it what's easy for you and what you like, and applying that and making that a part of your life. No. You know, it's like taking a piece of anything and trying to make something work out of it. Unless you're fucking MacGyver, it's not going to happen. Well, there's a reference going back a few years. So if you guys are in a Red Pill, it's a good thing. Red Pill is actually a good thing. If you go back to the original information and you internalize this stuff and put this stuff into play. What you're seeing there out on social media now, these little bits and bytes and opinions and all that, it's kind of lost its way. So that's that. I just wanted to cover Red Pill really quick because that's a hot thing, and a lot of guys are turning to that. With that, I am done. I'm going to call it quits for today. I'd really like to hear from you. Subscribe, like, share, comment, all those things. I'd greatly appreciate it. Okay? BoulderZone.com is the website. The Boulder Zone is the YouTube thing, and you're probably watching this. That's where you're at now. I've just fired up the Twitch thing. We'll see how that goes when I'm done here. I haven't really done much with that, but it's recommended, so we pulled that together. So, guys, stay the course. If you've started, stay the course. If you need some support, give me a call, send me a message, okay? All right. Until next time, you know what you need to do. Get bolder.